Bonjour! Today we are starting and finishing lesson 25, which is our last lesson in Unit 6. So we'll have a quiz and then a test coming up after this. And in this video, we are going to look at the last sort of reason or circumstance that you use the imparfait. So we've already talked about two. We've talked about use the imparfait for actions that were ongoing in the past, progressive actions, and for sort of states of being, right? How you were. So we're going to look at one more today, and that is circumstances of an event. Okay, what does that mean? I'll tell you in a second, but first, let's talk about the passé composé again. Passé composé is used to describe a well-defined action completed at a specific point in time, although they might leave out the specific time. But well-defined, completed, done, completed action. For example, hier, Pauline a vu un accident. Hier, Pauline a vu un accident. Yesterday, Pauline saw an accident. Okay? Saw. That's a well-defined action. It's completed. She saw the accident happen. Done. Elle a téléphoné à la police. Elle a téléphoné à la police. She called the police. Same thing. Completed, well-defined action. It's done. And then, une ambulance est arrivée. Une ambulance est arrivée. An ambulance arrived. Well-defined, completed. Alright? So, oftentimes, the imparfait will be used to describe the conditions and circumstances that form the background of another past action. So something that's going on while one of those well-defined actions is happening. And there are 4 categories that these usually are. So, like 4 categories of these conditions or circumstances. One of them is time and weather. Okay, so il était 2 heures. Il était 2 heures. It was 2 o'clock, right? That's not a completed action. It's not well defined, right? That's not just something you can do. So it is a circumstance of the event. Il était 2 heures when elle a vu l'accident, when she saw the accident. La visibilité était mauvaise. Visibility was poor. Okay, so this is imparfait because it is a circumstance that forms the background of another thing that's going on. And il neigeait, right, weather. It was snowing. Il pleuvait, it was raining. Okay, those aren't well-defined actions that are just like done in an instant. They're things that sort of are going on and forming the background of other things that are happening. Another category that form conditions and circumstances are outward appearance, or physical, mental, or emotional state. For example, le conducteur était un homme jeune. Le conducteur était un homme jeune. Driver was a young man. Right? That's not a well-defined action. That's not a completed action. That is a circumstance. That is a condition. He was a young man. Il portait un manteau gris. He was wearing a gray coat. Same thing. That's not a completed action. You can't wear something like instantly and it's done. He was wearing it for a period of time. Il n'était pas prudent. He was not careful. Same thing. That's definitely not a completed action, right? That is a state of being or a circumstance. The next sort of category for circumstances or conditions are external circumstances. For example, il n'y avait pas d'autres passagers. There were no other passengers. And la voiture allait vite. The car was going fast. And sometimes the circumstance, right, or the condition can be the reason for the well-defined action, right? La voiture allait vite. Car was going fast, and there was an accident. Passé composé. And other actions in progress, so something that's just going on in the background while like the main event is happening. Pauline allait en ville. Pauline allait en ville. So Pauline was going downtown. She was in the middle of doing it. She was on her way there, and then this accident happened. Another example, sa copine l'attendait. Her friend was waiting for her. So this is a circumstance that's going on in the background when something else can happen. And that's it. Often, you can use the imparfait and the passé composé together in the same sentence, which I'll show you a little bit more on the next slide, and it's going to be what you're practicing in your practice today. But before we look at your practice, I want to do a quick review of everything you know about the passé composé versus the imparfait. So the imperfect we use for habitual or repeated actions. Le samedi soir, nous allions au cinéma. Saturday nights, we went to the movies. Okay, like every Saturday night we went to the movies. Where the passé composé is used for specific and isolated actions. Samedi dernier, nous sommes allés au concert. Last Saturday, we went to a concert. Okay, one time. Not like every Saturday where we go to the movies. This one Saturday, we went to a concert. Imperfect is also used for progressive actions. J'allais en ville. J'allais en ville. I was going into town. I was going into town. And the passé composé is used for actions that take place at a given time or period. Quand j'ai rencontré ma cousine. When I met my cousin. When I ran into my cousin. So here's what I'm talking about how you can have the imparfait and the passé composé in the same sentence. I was going downtown when I ran into my cousin, okay? And then the one we just talked about, circumstances of a main event, il pleuvait, it was raining. And then the main event, nous sommes allés dans un café, we went into a cafe. And that's it. That's everything you know about when to use the imparfait and when to use the passé composé. So, let's take a look at your practice. Explain why the following people are doing certain things, or did certain things. So the way these are going to work is that you have a subject, you have a verb that they're going to do, and then sort of the circumstance, right? So Thomas restait à la maison, stayed at home. He was sick, or he is sick. Okay, so we want to put these both into a past tense. This one we're going to put in the passé composé, and this one we're going to put into the imperfect. Okay, so Thomas est resté à la maison. And then your important linking word here is parce que. Parce que means because. Parce que il était malade. He was sick. Circumstance, main event, right? Let's do this one together. So, nous, that's our subject. Faire une promenade, took a walk. Okay, so in the passé composé, nous avons fait une promenade. And then parce que, because, parce que, and then il, and then I can see this is a weather expression. I know this needs to be imparfait, parce qu'il faisait beau, because it was nice. And that's it. Just practicing using them both in the same sentence. Oh no, I'll pay attention to what's happening there. In our next video, we'll go over what your Lesson 23 quiz is going to be like, but basically it's just using imparfait and passé composé together in the same sentences, using them at the same time. Let me know if you have any questions, and au revoir!